Extend your summer with the Currituck Outer Banks.
Good morning, America. Breaking overnight, President Trump calls the families of fallen soldiers, reportedly telling the pregnant widow of one that her husband, quote, knew what he signed up for. And the president threatens to strike back at Senator McCain. His daughter Megan here live.
The hero security officer breaks his silence, opening up about the terrifying moment he encountered the Las Vegas gunman, becoming his first victim before the rampage.
I felt a burning sensation, went to go lift my pant leg up, and I saw the blood.
Those who now credit him with saving their lives. Me Too, USA Gymnastics bombshell. In the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal, gold medalist Michaela Maroney now saying she was sexually assaulted by that team doctor. What she's calling the scariest night of her life.
Please welcome David Letterman.
In the Late Night Legends' big return, David Letterman back on stage for the first time since retiring.
It's so good to see famous people again. I miss wearing makeup.
Jimmy Kimmel, one-on-one with his idol.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
We do say good morning, America. And how about that moment last night? You know, David Letterman making that big return, Michael.
Make you feel good to see David Letterman out there with his first time back on the late night count since leaving. It was a big moment for Jimmy Kimmel also. Jimmy said he feels about Letterman the way most people feel about Beyonce.
And Letterman was in great form, but I still can't get used to the beard.
I don't think he's shaved since he's been off the air.
It is really something. We're going to have more on that coming up. But first, a new twist in the health care battle. Some senators are now proposing a bipartisan deal to restore the Obamacare funding that the president promised to eliminate last week. He's sending mixed messages about that right now as he faces questions about a phone call he made to the widow of a fallen soldier. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega starts us off. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. President Trump has said making these calls to these families is the hardest thing he has to do as commander-in-chief. But now it's this phone call to this widow that you just mentioned that has him facing criticism this morning. President Trump made good on his promise to call the grieving families of those 4 special ops soldiers killed during a siege in Niger. But this morning, his message to one grieving widow is sparking backlash. President Trump told the wife of Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, quote, he knew what he signed up for, but when it happens, it hurts anyway. That's according to Florida Democratic Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, who says she listened to the call on speakerphone.
This is a soldier who gave his life for his country. He is a hero.
The call came just as Maisha Johnson was on her way to the airport for the arrival of her husband's remains. Pregnant with their 3rd child, Johnson laid her head on his flag-draped casket and gave a final kiss.
It just hurt me to know that he's not going to be here with us.
Overnight, the White House declined to address the details of the president's phone calls to the families, instead saying in a statement, the president's conversations with the families of American heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice are private. It comes on the heels of the president's false claims that other presidents, including President Obama, did not personally call the grieving families of fallen soldiers.
The traditional way, if you look at President Obama and other presidents, most of them didn't make calls. A lot of them didn't make calls. I like to call when it's appropriate, when I think I'm able to do it.
And Tuesday in the White House, President Trump blamed President Obama once again, implying Obama did not call his chief of staff, John Kelly, in 2010 when Kelly's son was killed in the line of duty in Afghanistan.
I mean, you could ask General Kelly, did he get a call from Obama? You could ask other people.
Now, General Kelly has made it repeatedly clear to reporters that this is something he does not want to talk about, the death of his son, understandably so. The White House says that he never got a call from President Obama in the wake of his son's death. And while Obama aides do not dispute that, they do, George, tell us that General Kelly was invited and did attend a breakfast here at the White House for Gold Star families where he sat at the First Lady's table. But that was 6 months after the death of his son, George.
And as you said, General Kelly himself prefers this all remains private. Cecilia, thanks very much.
Got to keep that in mind. More now on that bipartisan deal to restore funding to the Affordable Care Act. Just last week, President Trump said he was going to slash crucial subsidies. Critics accused him of sabotage. Now the president is sending mixed signals. Our congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, has the latest, joins us from Capitol Hill. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Yeah, lots of mixed messages from the White House on this one. The president says Obamacare is dead, but now he appears to support a bipartisan effort to stabilize it. But he also says it's simply not enough. Just last week, the president cut off $7 billion in subsidies that help millions of low-income Americans pay for their coverage. Now, Republican Lamar Alexander and Democrat Patty Murray have reached a bipartisan deal to extend those same subsidies for 2 years in exchange for giving states more flexibility. The president this morning is commending their solution, but the White House still hasn't said if the president will definitely sign it.
So what are the chances that this new deal could become a reality, Mary?
Yeah, Robin, this is far from a done deal. Up here on the Hill, it's still not clear if Republican leaders will support this either. And while the White House and Congress debate this, premiums for millions of Americans could still rise. The question then becomes, who will the American people hold responsible for that? The president is already pointing fingers, saying if premiums rise, blame the Democrats.
All right, Mary, thank you.
And Robin, one more note from Washington. The president issued a warning to Senator John McCain after McCain said the, quote, half-baked spurious nationalism backed by Trump is unpatriotic. Take a listen.
You heard what he said yesterday, Senator McCain.
Yeah, well, I hear it, and people have to be careful because at some point I fight back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being very nice. I'm being very, very nice. But at some point I fight back, and it won't be pretty.
So let's get more on this now from Meghan McCain, the newest co-host on The View, and our chief political analyst, Matthew Dowd. And Meghan, let me begin with you. So you heard what the president said there about your dad. Where does this go next?
You know, I think the fighting between them just comes from the fact that they have deep ideological differences of perspective on how America is run, how the Republican Party should work together. But on a personal note, I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted with the infighting within the Republican Party. I'm exhausted with the attacks on my father. I don't know if you guys have heard, but my father is fighting glioblastoma right now, and there's nothing that could possibly happen or be threatened to me and my family that couldn't possibly be more painful than what we are going through right now and have gone through in the past 3 months. So whatever threats are being levied right now, I'm telling you, we're a tough ride or die family, and right now there's really nothing that could possibly happen that could possibly be more complicated. And I just have high hopes that someday President Trump and the rest of the Republican Party can find some common ground together where if you have any kind of difference of opinion on the future of the country or the party, that you're not just automatically going to be threatened in return.
Yeah, and the question is they're trying to actually come to some agreement on big issues like health care and taxes, even as these personal attacks go on.
Yeah, and again, I have high hopes that it will happen. I'm a little confused about the bipartisan agreement with Democrats regarding the health care bill, because when you have people like Rand Paul and Mike Lee, who are more on the libertarian side of the party, who really just want repeal and don't want any replacement, that was part of the problem with the original bill. So I don't understand, if you're a supporter of President Trump and you are part of his base, he ran on repealing and replacing Obamacare, and now for them, will a compromise with Democrats be satisfactory? I just don't see how it's going to be possible.
It doesn't seem like that, although your dad is one calling for bipartisan compromise.
He is, and I think, again, he is, and my father obviously was the infamous down vote, but I just don't know if it will be satisfactory to his base.
Let me bring in Matt Dowd on this as well. And Matt, it does come, the president is trying to get Republicans rallied behind tax reform, trying to get them rallied behind something on health care, yet these self-inflicted wounds continue, starting with how he talked about the fallen families.
Well, every single time that you think Donald Trump has turned a corner and he's going to do something that is going to be positive for the country and actually politically positive for himself, he does another thing that reduces his approval ratings and drops him down. Keep in mind, George, the only time that Donald Trump has risen in his approval ratings in his entire presidency was when he had cut that deal with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer on the debt ceiling. And so if he can reach an agreement on DACA, if he can reach an agreement on taxes, if he can reach an agreement on health care reform, then I think his numbers go up. The problem he has, as Meghan alluded to, is that the Republicans are in no way unified on what he should do. The Democrats are pretty solid on this, but the president has to figure out a way to work with Congress, which he hasn't done since January 20th.
And the one place Republicans, Meghan, are unified, tax reform, can they get it through?
Listen, if we don't get some kind of win going forward into midterms, it's going to be very dangerous for people up for re-election. I certainly hope so, but again, there's it's such a fractured party. There's so much infighting right now. I wouldn't get too far ahead of myself.
All right. Would you give your father our best?
Thank you. Listen, he's doing good. I mean, he's all things considered, and we are so blessed and so lucky to have the healthcare team, especially at NIH. Shout out to them, the doctors who I'm on speed dial with all the time. We're so lucky. I just want to bring more awareness to glioblastoma and brain cancer. It's part of the reason why I am working at The View. I hope you all come on at some point, but he's doing really well, and I really appreciate all the prayers and thoughts everyone has given my family. It really is deeply meaningful.
Yeah, we saw your father and Vice President Biden together on that issue the other night.
Yeah, I gotta love Joe Biden. I mean, I don't agree with him on much, but he's a wonderful man.
And one thing we do agree on, you fit right in on The View.
Well, I'm very nervous, so thank you.
You're holding your own.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we appreciate you coming here. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Megan. And we're going to talk about some money news right now. A lot of eyes are on the stock market this morning after the Dow reached a major milestone on Tuesday, crossing 23,000 points for the first time ever before closing just below that mark. ABC's Paula Ferris is on Wall Street with more. Good morning, Paula.
And good morning to you, Michael. The market is on fire right now. A lot of us are going to be tempted to peek at our 401ks this morning. But as you heard, the Dow surpassed 23,000 for the first time ever. And just to give you a sense of how hot things are, since Election Day, we've seen a 25% increase in the market, 66 record highs, and it's up 4,600 points. So why is the market as strong as it is right now? A couple of reasons. Number one being solid earnings reports. Another reason, news of a GOP tax cut plan. And that made significant progress yesterday when Senator John McCain said that he would back a bill. The Senate is expected to vote on this a little bit later this week, and Trump continues to tout the largest tax cut in the history of our country. So what does it mean for you? Here's what it means. If the American family had $10,000 in the market on Election Day, this morning they're waking up, it's worth about $12,600. There are questions, though, how long this bull run could last. We're in the midst of an 8+ year run. No signs that it's going to be slowing down anytime soon, especially with news of this possible tax cut. But there is concern that the market is too hot, that it melts. Basically, too much of a good thing too fast. So the best long-term strategy, Michael, is to look at your money, but don't touch. We'll send things back to you.
All right, thank you, Paula. That's the hard part. Look at it, but don't touch. As she said, the market's on fire. A lot of people wondering how long this could continue.
We'll see.
All right, we're going to go from Wall Street. We're going to turn to that state of emergency declared in Florida. Ahead of a speech by white nationalist leader Richard Spencer, ABC's Victor Okendo is in Gainesville, Florida with more. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. The University of Florida already taking a number of precautions. They'll be setting up these steel barricades throughout the day. There's an increased police presence in and around campus. They want to make sure that what happened in Charlottesville doesn't happen here in Gainesville.
Lock out Nazis!
This morning, the University of Florida isn't taking any chances preparing for a speech by white nationalist Richard Spencer on campus Thursday. Florida Governor Rick Scott declaring a state of emergency Monday, activating the National Guard, hoping to avoid scenes like these.
We're ready. We are prepared. We're going to ensure that you are afforded your constitutional rights, but that it's done in a safe and secure manner.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
Spencer is the founder of the so-called alt-right movement, which gained national attention after this video went viral of his supporters hailing Trump with Nazi salutes.
Yes, I'm trying to normalize racism, as you call it. Absolutely, I'm trying to normalize my ideas, our ideas of the alt-right, yes. I do not want the alt-right to be a fringe movement. I want the alt-right to be a dominant movement.
Spencer was set to speak in August at a Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville at the University of Virginia.
White lives matter!
That ended in violent clashes between protesters. One woman killed when a man drove a car into a group of protesters. After that, UF denied a request from Spencer to speak in September, citing imminent threats against Gainesville and the university. But in a statement last week, the school's president said he was shocked to learn that UF is required by law to allow Mr. Spencer to speak his racist views on our campus.
And UF will also be footing the bill for all the added security, some $500,000. This is the Phillips Center right behind me where Richard Spencer will speak. He's clearly not welcome here, but he did send out this tweet saying, breaking Hurricane Ricardo, expected to hit Gainesville on Thursday. Michael?
It's going to be a tense situation there tomorrow night. We're going to move on now to new trouble for the Weinstein brothers and the company they founded. As Harvey Weinstein officially resigned from the board in the wake of those sexual assault allegations, his brother Bob is now facing allegations of his own. ABC's Lindsay Davis has the story.
This morning, shocking new accusations of sexual harassment.
this time against Harvey Weinstein's younger brother, Bob, who co-founded their movie studio. Amanda Siegel, a showrunner on the now-canceled Spike TV series The Mist, produced by the Weinstein Company, tells Variety magazine that Bob Weinstein repeatedly tried to pressure her into a personal relationship with him in the summer of 2016.
Amanda claims that when she went to dinner with Bob Weinstein, he actually asked her age because he wanted to make sure that she was not younger than his own daughter. Bob also asked Amanda to come back to his hotel room.
And another accuser, Alexi Melvin, an aspiring actress, took to Twitter claiming that Bob Weinstein at a party tried to lure me to one of those infamous hotel meetings with Harvey. I was a minor. Melvin tells ABC News in a statement that the alleged encounter made her feel trapped, but that she was lucky her mother was present and stepped in. Bob Weinstein's attorney vehemently denies these claims, telling ABC News his client was surprised, stunned, and extremely angry when he learned of the allegations.
We have emails that cover this entire subject and show how phony this story is.
The new allegations came the same day the Weinstein Company board met in New York City, with Harvey calling in from a rehab facility in Arizona and officially resigning from the board. His attorney chose not to speak to cameras. The movie mogul is now accused by more than 30 women of sexual harassment and assault. And now more of Hollywood's women continue to speak out.
We'll face it together.
Game of Thrones actress Lena Headey posted on Twitter that when she declined an invitation up to Harvey Weinstein's hotel room, he allegedly told her, "Don't tell anyone about this. Not your manager, not your agent." Harvey Weinstein has denied any allegations of non-consensual sex. And this morning, more women continue to join the hashtag #MeToo movement. Just on Twitter alone, in the first 24 hours, 650,000 #MeToo tweets. 24 hours later, the #MeToo tweets are about double that, in excess of 1.2 million tweets from women around the world in multiple languages, giving their own accounts of their personal experiences with sexual harassment.
Yeah, it has just exploded. We're going to have more on that in our next hour. Lindsay, thanks very much.
All right, we're going to turn now, if you can, from that to a major night for Major League Baseball. It is closing time for the LA Dodgers. They're just one win away from securing a trip to the World Series. It'll be their first trip to the World Series that they can win this game since 1988. I was 2 years old, Robin, after beating the defending champ, the Cubs, 6-1 last night. But all of the drama is here in New York, where the Yankees were trailing 4-0 until here comes the judge. The big home run kicked off a scoring spree for the Yankees. They scored 4 runs in the 8th inning to cap off a stunning comeback. The final score 6-4. They are tied at 2 games apiece. All 4 teams face off again tonight. And boy, it's going to be a good World Series, no matter who ends up in the matchup.
Another big night tonight.
Don't count out those baby bombers.
Not at all.
Let's go to Ginger now. A major storm moving into the west.
It is, and you can see it right here on the satellite, George. Just south and east of the Aleutian Islands there, the center of it, but it's already hitting parts of Washington state and will today. Very heavy rains, and it's all forming from this atmospheric river. It's just this plume of moisture stretching more than 5,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean. So plenty of it to go there. We'll have rounds of different storms, but one of the strongest coming in again today through Friday. Look at even Northern California picking up just a little bit of rain with that cold front. A lot of rain and certainly a lot of wind that could take down power lines in Washington state. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, though, the sunny cities, brought to you by Gain.
Fred would do anything for his daughter.
Get in, Fred.
Even if it means being the back half of a unicorn. Fear not, Fred. The front half washed the shirt with Gain. And that smell puts the giddy in giddy up. Ah, the irresistible scent of Gain Fling's laundry detergent. You can't help but smell happy.
Frost advisory running for many of us until 9 a.m. this morning. You can see those temperatures starting in the 30s to 40s, so make sure you take the jacket to work with you today. We'll top out in the low 70s, a very comfortable feel by this afternoon, and also under bright sunshine. This dry weather pattern going to continue through the later half of the week. Notice those temperatures in the 70s. We're in the mid 70s by this weekend, expecting the dry weather to hold. It's not until early next week where we could be tracking our next chance for wet weather.
Coming up, the security officer who first encountered the Las Vegas shooter, he is now breaking his silence. What he's saying about those terrifying moments before the rampage.
And for the first time, we're hearing from someone very close to Colin Kaepernick, what he thinks of the NFL anthem protests and the president, his lawyer. He is here live. Plus, what happened at a high-stakes meeting between the players and the owners.